trying, yes.
Yeah, right, just blue all the time.
Okay.
Martha. You're gonna throw that board right off if you do.
All right. Are we ready?
Okay, red?
You can't sign it, right?
You want blue as the, or black.
We're gonna need a blue.
So we're
We're gonna
gonna
blast.
name that.
Yeah, we need glue to go along with
I
it.
have a paper pack for underneath. Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Do you need a copy of the agenda, Trace?
Got it right here.
Anyone? I do,
No.
please.
Yeah, if you're, I can.
All right, I'm gonna open the South Branch Board of Health meeting Thursday, September 13th. It is 6:37. Attendance, Elizabeth Stevens here, Roland Larishell,
Here.
David Williams,
Here.
Anthony Casali.
Here.
Nicole Duffy. Here. Okay. Agenda item number 3, accept the minutes of the previous meeting, August 9th. Did everybody have an opportunity to look over said minutes?
Make a motion to accept the minutes of August 9th.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
One abstention.
Okay. Agenda item number 4, citizens forum. Are there any citizens present who wish to discuss any topic?
Other than Kevin.
Who wish to discuss any topic that is not on the agenda?
Other than Kevin.
Well, I wasn't gonna pick on him, I was gonna be nice. Okay, agenda item number 5, Casella.
Okay, let me sign in. Can't talk and write at the same time.
Yes, you can, I've seen it.
It's like
Yeah,
walking
we haven't
into
seen the
a
penmanship afterwards.
Yeah, we can kind of make up with that.
What she says doesn't make sense.
I'm Tracy Markham, I'm the site manager at South Bridge
Oh,
Landfill.
I did forget to mention that we are being recorded by audio and also video.
Okay, quick update for the board. Construction is ongoing. We have completed the liner construction. Again, it's just a very small quarter-acre bump out, which was really constructed to allow us to properly grade 3-to-1 slope on the eastern side of the landfill. So that's what we're up to right now. We're grading the east side, preparing that for capping. That is going to, in conjunction with regrading the waste and placing the small amount of new waste that goes on that slope, that's going to be till about the first week in October. So, the next, what's the one? The 13th. So the next better part of 3 weeks, we can just call it. That work will be ongoing, and then we're expecting the liner deployment to start directly after that. So the bedding layer will have to go down, then liner construction will commence. So you're talking about the first 2 weeks in October to begin that. Liner material has a warranty component of needing to have 4 consecutive days of 40 degrees for it to be deployed. So that time of the year, we should be okay, but we all know in New England, temperatures can dip. So we'll be looking at some weather dependency for October. If we happen to have an exceptionally cold October where we just can't reach that, then we would have to essentially put the project to bed and hold off on installing the liner until the following construction season. It's just not worth trying to deploy 7 acres of material that's not going to go down right. So that is something that we will have to watch as we go through. Last time I was here, I updated you guys on the schedule of when we think we're going to reach capacity at the landfill. There's really no change to that. Last time we talked, we were talking about the beginning of November. So knowing that, is it getting darker?
Yeah.
Yes. All right.
I mean, no, it's not.
It's like, oh, that swim was really relaxing.
No, it's your mess.
Okay.
When they go off, it's time to use.
Right.
We're done then when we run out. So I told you that we're going to be grading that slope and placing the remaining waste on the east slope in the next few weeks. So that will really kind of give us an idea. And then in conjunction with the next survey, will really kind of tighten things up for us and help us get closer to determining exactly the week that we think we're going to be done.
Is
So
that the
really no
last
update there.
You just said that you're replacing the waste on the east slope, and that will determine when you begin. Is that your last capacity
No.
area?
So that will help us. That's one of the areas that we, not knowing exactly how much had to be graded and what was gonna be left to put in was one of the question marks that we had. So we'll be finalizing that question mark, between now and the first week in October. And then this Household Has Waste Day, Saturday, September 29th. So that is in the books and ready to go. Any questions? Or other topics?
The oil spill.
Oh, okay, the engine overfill?
Yes.
Yep, so we have, Lampa Gas Energy engine is a 20-cylinder Caterpillar engine, holds quite a bit of oil, I don't know the exact number off the top of my head. But we set it up to, have the engine oil go in to refill the engine after some maintenance. And it was a simple human error, he stepped away, and he got a little distracted and realized, uh-oh, and went back. So we had an overfill of the day tank into the engine enclosure room. It's a big box that it's in, and it's not 150% watertight. It's not designed to hold a spill, but it's pretty close. So we had, less than 10 gallons of just, drips from the outside of the container. So we reported it to DEP, we got an LSP on site, we had a contractor, essentially shop vacuuming up the oil because we can reuse it in our shop heater. So it's not gonna go to waste, it will get turned into heat. So that will go through the regular process since it was reported to DEP, and there'll be a notice of responsibility will come from DEP. That happens with every spill, and then we will finish it up with the required reporting to DEP, which I believe is within 60 days from the date of spill. So that's the usual track that we'll take on that.
They didn't send anybody, right?
No.
No, not for that.
Did any leak into the ground directly?
No, there's a concrete pad that goes around the outside, and it sticks out about this far, and it takes it quite a while to work its way, through. So we had pads and speedy dry and everything out.
So you don't have to worry about
No.
10 gallons is under the RQ anyway.
Yeah, that's another, well, because,
Full point.
because the engine enclosure is a technicality of the mass regs, because the engine enclosure is not designed to be oil containment, technically the whole quantity
Okay.
goes as, not just what leaked out onto
Yeah.
the,
But they were called, it was reported, life is good. Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions, comments, concerns?
You good?
I'm good. Are you good?
Good.
I usually stay for the rest of the meeting, but it's my wife's birthday, so I'm
That's
going to skedaddle. All right?
Actually, before Tracy leaves, I might want to make a slight scare to her.
Oh,
We're aware there is some legal action regarding the curbside collection. Tracy mentioned the hazardous waste day is coming up. I just want to make it public that should we lose this lawsuit, or should we lose this action, this will probably be the last hazardous waste day. So if you have stuff that has to go, let's make it go. It might be a robust day, but this is.
yeah, I'm gonna get a police detail just in, last time we were open for accepting waste while we had waste day, so we had a police
Yes.
detail up there. I am expecting to have quite a bit of traffic because people might have the same sentiment Andy just expressed. So we will have a police detail up there just to keep everything rolling.
It went well.
Yeah, it did.
It did.
What's the date again?
September
29.
29th, last Saturday of the month. All right.
Tracy, thank you.
Thank you. Tell her happy birthday.
I gotta go cook dinner now.
I already did.
Good night.
All right, so before we move on, it is 6:45, so we will go to our public hearing.
No, that's what we delayed. Oh, are you representing?
I am.
Okay.
I can represent myself, can't I?
It was a,
It's her name, it's her name on her
It's
map.
written on the permit, so.
Why
Why did you let him
no,
speak?
that's fine. I
He's
saw,
downstairs doing
Yeah, he's
conservation,
downstairs
there's not
doing-
there was a concurrent hearing going on. I was gonna say that.
Killing me, just make me
Unless
cry.
we can trust Heather, I guess we'll go with it.
Trust Heather.
Bird.
Something makes them
I
cry.
think I've been
Oh, beavers.
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 educated enough. Prepared enough.
Oh, she's good.
I got pictures, I got everything. Okay, so as you're
So
aware,
we'll-
go ahead.
so we'll-
Call it.
I make a motion, we open hearing?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor? Okay, open the hearing at 6:46. A request for a 10-day emergency beaver permit.
This is a request for an emergency beaver permit up near Cohasset Reservoir. It directly connects into the reservoir area, the discharge of it, and it's so that we can maintain access to this high hazard dam. If you're not familiar with being up there, this is quite a large dam. We kind of have to go there every day and make sure that it's still sitting there, even though if it wasn't still sitting there, neither would be half the town. So it would be, it's very important that we keep it and maintain it. We have there is pretty good regulations behind it that we have to get there.
Is that the one right, the first one you see behind the old Wells Estate by the golf course?
Yeah,
Or that's the one further up by
it's a
the
bigger one.
Yes.
fork in the road?
Yeah,
Yes.
make a
Yeah.
left.
If you go past the
Private
fork in the
road.
road,
So
you
that's
kind of go
what-
down a road to,
Yes.
in between some houses
Yes.
and,
So that's Cohasset, and the other one I think is Wells Pond, right?
correct, that's not owned by the town, that's private.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
I have some pictures here that have been provided by Steve. This is on the 11th. This is the entrance road. You can see it's already ponding along the side of the road. And this is yesterday.
I was gonna say, today,
It was
worse.
even worse today.
Yeah.
Didn't we just, this
We did.
deja vu all over, because wasn't it
You
like
issued
last
a
month?
permit for this on July 26th for
Okay.
basically the same idea. For, this was, on the 26th, it was 2 permits really, or 1, but for 2 locations, both Cohasset and Reservoir Spillway. Luckily, so far, they haven't got back into the spillway, which is up at the water treatment plant. This is our alternate, I call it our alternate source because it's our backup source, but, you know, we can operate off that source, we just have to pump it and don't normally like to have to pump over the hill to get our water if we don't have to. So, this is our alternate source, it's high hazard dam, it is an access, it is a public drinking water supply area. All those things are basically give it really high concern that we need to contain and maintain the access to that. They did trap 2 beavers out of that area back in July and breached the dam, but they have now decided to come back, which they probably will continue to come back. We really don't have control of the population downstream and they're migrating upstream. I believe Steve has given you his plan of what we plan to do to try to keep mitigating the problems as much as we can, but we will still have to keep addressing anything that is blocking our access and causing flooding of this nature. But those do include that we will do regularly, we'll have our tractors come in when it's open season and go ahead and trap if whatever's up there, even if we don't see anything, we can do that. You know, we can look at different preventative measures. They've tried decoys before, they failed. We can't put any type of chemical out there to evade them because it's not legal for in a watershed area. So, you know, we're going to look at trimming back all of our reservoir area. This isn't really one area that we would be trimming back because of the location where it is, but it's still an area that we're gonna have to maintain and keep open. You know, these type of things with the little storms that we've got, if we had anything like the hurricane that's coming and we had this and these failed, we could be looking at major damage, loss of the road, things of that nature. So we have to keep on top of this on a regular basis or we're gonna have issues because we're gonna get one of those storms coming.
Is there something other than a 10-day permit that would allow you to do maintenance on a regular basis, so you wouldn't have to keep coming back? With that, approving, you
This
know,
is
a
the
site?
procedure that Massachusetts has right now that I'm
Yeah.
aware of. So unfortunately,
The Board of Health doesn't have the authority to go beyond the 10-day, except for they can give an extension. The only one who could possibly supersede that law would be Fish and Games or
right, it's a
the Department
different,
of
totally
Agriculture.
different procedure. The
So,
way that they had set up these regulations, my understanding, I used to be on the Board of Health, so my town, is that they tried to give local control as much as they could, because Massachusetts likes to give local control where they can, and then only have subsequent state control afterwards if something doesn't work with local control. So my understanding is they still have to come to you, and you basically have to
No,
deny
we
me
have
and
to
then.
deny you and then you have to appeal it.
And so that would take even longer. You know, here, timing is everything, you know, in 2 days, we already know it's more flooded, and we have to go there. And it's only, you know, this weekend's supposed to be nice. No more rain, but,
Don't jinx it.
So we're always in a reactive mode, I guess, if these beavers are coming from other areas
Yeah.
and migrating from, and do we know who controls those areas?
private property.
I was gonna say, I believe Steve had said that it's my understanding that they come from the brook, from further down, and that's on private property.
Which
Probably from
is a
wells.
kind of, so let's make,
'Cause I'm on the other end.
let's make sense of this. If they're not doing anything damaging to that property, that's where you want them. You don't want to eradicate the beavers totally.
Right.
But you have to have methods to control them in areas where they're providing conflict with humans. And that's what the 10-day permit allows you guys to do. It allows you to say, you meet the criteria to go in there because it's a public drinking water supply, because you need to keep access open to this road, because of the fact it's a high island dam, to go ahead and take these beavers out by these eradication means. It allows you guys to do that. I know it puts you in a weird position because you're basically saying, okay, go kill those beavers, and I understand that. But the rules were set so that you're not gonna try to go control them down there. You want them to live down there. You wanna convince them, just don't come back here, go stay down there. Unfortunately, the beaver,
Don't listen.
well, has a little bit of a mind of its own, and it has young, and what do? They move, they only get territorial and they try to move to
Didn't
different
get the
places.
memo.
They don't like to follow our rules
Yeah.
per se, but we can't enforce they're not doing any harm in that person's middle of their forest, and they don't care if there's a dam and it's not into a water supply and it's not causing any flooding in the structure. That's where you want them.
To Tony's point, very specifically, the law allows the boards of health to take action when infrastructure or public health is threatened. A beaver further down, we can't react. Legally, we cannot take
That could
action
be
against that until there is a threat.
inconvenience, and that doesn't apply.
Correct. Until you meet these criteria of the threat, then you can take action.
When is open season?
It's not until November.
November.
It's November, March, right?
We had a little luck getting
Till
them in
tax
November.
day. It's November till April.
Really?
And that seems like in that winter time, they're not moving, migrating, doing
No,
their
they're
thing.
usually in their den.
Their dens are
They're
hibernating.
in their dens
If the
hibernating.
water isn't frozen, you might get them. As soon as the water starts to freeze over.
Well, it's not
they-
gonna be, because we're not getting the cold.
We're not getting cold, I like that too.
We're getting 3 feet of snow once, done, let the kids play.
I don't want 3 feet.
Let the kids play once.
Well,
Anything else? Somebody wanna make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the beaver permit.
Take a second.
I'll second it.
All those in
For
favor?
clarification, this is a vote to both order the removal of the dam and the removal of the beavers.
That's on the permit.
Yes.
It's, yeah, it has to be written on the permit specifically.
No, I-
And Concom is writing their own permit right now for removal
Of the dam.
of the dam. Not including the beavers, just the dam at 4 inches per day.
Right, yeah. Oh, okay, well, I was waiting because I read it, I thought it
It's
was
just
fine.
trying to pretend to be smart.
Oh, Alright.
I'm just trying to pretend to be smart.
okay.
Yeah, because
Did anybody second it?
Yeah, I thought it did.
Yeah.
No, Roland seconded it. All those in
Yes.
favor?
With the passing of this, I haven't written the permit yet. I will be writing the permit first thing in the morning. I would ask the board to give me the permission to sign the permit as the agent of the board. Normally, I would bring the permit to the board for signature, to the chair, but I haven't written it yet. I had a help day today. So, I'll write it in the morning, and if the board approves, I will sign it for the board.
I'm okay with that.
Thank you.
Okay,
Anybody else have any other questions?
no, all
Okay.
fine.
Roland's predicting only 3 feet of snow at once, okay.
Okay,
For the next time.
Yeah, next year, that's it. I'll make the motion to close the public hearing.
Second?
All those in favor?
Thanks, all.
Opposed? At
Steve.
6:56.
Good night.
Thanks for coming.
Steve. Okay, agenda item number 6, subcommittee announcements. Landfill Oversight Committee.
Okay, as the minutes stated, the previous minutes, we haven't had a meeting since then. We plan on having the next meeting following the quarterly unless something drastic comes up, not until November, which is tentative to be planned before our regular scheduled meeting in November. So there's nothing new besides that to report.
What is
I stick the landing.
Separate them.
I know. You guys are not gonna be able to sit
Give me a
together.
10.
You gave it 10.
I'll do-
Okay, try Epic.
That's you.
That would be me.